It's Pop Pop Kitten Mittens. Here she is. Yes. Okay, you can lay down. Hello, all. Dr. Fox back here with you with the weekend update. Oh, well, we're going to offer a happy early Dad's Day / Man's Day. We're going to talk a little Diablo Immortal. Yes, I know. At least for some of you. I get it. I hear you. We're going to talk about a few other things and wow, and we'll get into that. Why don't we just get into it, shan't we? Dr. Fox back here with you with the weekend update. Pop up kitty beaties. Exactly. It's my babies. Just trying to plug through. We'll get into the Diablo thing first. First off, we're gonna get into the Diablo Immortal thing later. But first, that's what I was trying to say. Bear with me. That's part of my brain injury. Someone say, edit that out, Dr. Fox, right? Well, first off, happy Dad's Day coming up. Happy Man's Day. For anyone that celebrates that, any happy non-gendered individual day that defines that way, and I hope that you have a good one for that, because sadly I won't be able to get on for about 2 weeks, which actually my next weekend update might actually be on the road. So I think we have a little bit more exact positive date for this. So we're going to see. There's still a small chance. I'm not holding my breath or holding out for a small chance instead of a hero from that song. But there's a small chance we may be on our way in the next weekend update, because it's been, or in this case, the bi-weekly update that we've been doing as well. It seems there's a small itty bitty piece of, I know a lot of people have had some bad enjoyment with it. If you have otherwise, please share it with me. Warcraft 3, the 20th anniversary is coming up, or it came up, excuse me, on June 3rd. A week or so ago, there was a little news on that about them working on some little tweaks and whatnot. So we're gonna kind of leave that at that. Of course, 9.2.5 and WoW that dropped. Have you been doing some of that? I know I've gotten through the Dark Iron extra quests that we had available for that. It was pretty exciting to get like the sword and the shield and then pick up that second mount. That was kind of a fun little story to do. I did do the Blood Elf heritage armor, and I'm sorry, I know that a lot of you knew that I had that old heritage armor. I used to stream those, or if you look back at my channel, I have like a heritage armor video that I usually do for each of those. And sadly, I was not able to record properly when I did that and accomplished that eventually. But I had a level 50, and thankfully that Dark Iron already. Dark Iron. I did the Dark Iron. The Blood Elf, excuse me, on the Horde side. Before I started, that one was level 50. They both were 50s. You can start at level 50 for the Dark Iron quest line, and I did that. And then I jumped over to my other Horde side, and actually, you know what? I'm going to show you folks that on screen here, as long as the internet stays connected, if we can make it as well. There was just a quick mention too. There was a small sale about character transfers, factions, changing servers, but that sale sadly has, as you can see here, come and gone. But here's the beautiful new Dark Moon. Sorry. We're going to get into the calendar too. Sorry, see, I've got all these stuff going through my head right now. Dark Moon, what's going on this week? As well, sadly, it's the last day today as well. But the Blood, because I keep talking about the Dark Iron. The Blood Elf heritage armor here that we have. I'm going to try to make my screen. Oh, where is it? I'm grabbing the wrong one. I hate it when I do that. There we go. Let me pull that way down, itty bitty. There you go. Now, bitty. You can see that much better. So what I was saying is, so the Dark Iron, I was able to do that by just leaving my character at level 50. You can start that quest at 50, and as long as you've done the other quest of getting the Heritage Armor for your Dark Iron. And of course, having that little bit you've got to do to get the Dark Iron unlocked. Thank goodness there's a lot less requirements for getting your Dark Iron unlocked. But then over here, what I did is thankfully the silver, you have to be exalted with Silvermoon for the Blood Elf that I did here. And she was 50 or 51, and I just grinded through. I just queued for dungeons. I was going to wait for that's what I was going to mention, Dark Moon Fair this week, because you can have that extra 10% and then just do that. But I turned the war mode on, and I just flew around. And thankfully, I had flight already from my other one, from my main character. And I just flew around like I think she set up for Bastion as her Covenant. Gave her the new boost. Oh, and to clarify on that, thankfully you don't have. Let's say you bought a Covenant icon to jump you to 60 if you've already hit 80 once on one of them already. When you purchase, if you've already purchased one, that 40 automatically moved up to 60. Not like if you've just added 40 to your character, that one sadly stays at 40. But what I mean is if you have the item still in your inventory, before it said 40, now it'll say 60, and meaning that you don't have to sell it, or because they don't let you sell it back, you don't have to go and purchase a new one as I had thought or anticipated. So at least if you've had purchased a few, thankfully they were ready to be used. Is what I'm basically getting at in this aspect. I did go back to my main also, and I did do the Dark Ranger hunt, and it was with the Hunter. And if you do it that way, there are a few more transmog options for your Hunter as well. And I did do those. Gosh, there has been a little tweak for the BOA going out to farm like Valor and Conquest points. Usually this is done through like Mythic plus PvP, and for those that really like that crazy grind of PvP, my goodness, or maybe some say it's not quite as crazy grind. And if so, share it with me, because boy, I'm telling you, I was gonna look into that, but I've been really, really pulling back a lot. Chris, like I said, extremely limited internet for options. Cross faction, that does work for Mythic and Raid. Sadly, the PvP cross faction, that's been bugged out terribly, and they've been having a lot of issues, so they kind of pulled that out and said, hopefully at some point they'll fix it, basically, is how they worded that. That's the short version. So we're not seeing PvP cross-faction yet, sadly, and I was kind of bumming to try that, and I was like, no, but the good news is, if you haven't, now I have my Goblin Banker over on the other Horde side of this right here on Anderhall. And I'll be able to use that one. And what's nice is you can finally, because it now is cross-faction, you can now start sending gold back and forth, which is... Now, I haven't verified whether you can still do it. I think now it eradicates that not being friendly issue anymore, and I think you can just pretty much send those from character to character, which is a lot better. There was also the Dragonflight preview that had come out that some had been looking over as well. Speaking of that, in the two capitals, there's a little mini short quest over where they moved. For instance, in Stormwind, they had moved where the daily cook quest used to be. They moved a cook off to the side. There's that little center area. Off to the right, there's a little dwarf there, and she has a quest, and someone stole something. And I'm not gonna no spoilers. I'm just gonna mention that there is a quest that starts there. It's a little mini quest right there in the capital. They also have it over in Orgrimmar, where the guild characters were, they just got moved over a little bit, and now there's stables as well, and there's also stables in Stormwind for those that have already been kind of following the whole thing. They've been talking about that during PTR as well. I was just slapping this because this was my beautiful card that my Honey Bunches of Oats with Strawberries gave me for Mom's Day. I'm just treasuring it greatly, and I've drawn something very nice and beautiful. I'm not going to give it away because my other half watches my weekend update. So they'll just have to wait till Dad's Day to get their special little something I made for them. I like making homemade items. They're a lot more from the heart, in my opinion. But we will do things like go to the Dollar Tree and be like, you know what? There's 2 cards here for 50 cents, and that helps us keep down the cost as well, or to save even more money if we have, say, a $1 notebook like this, like the kitty one. We'll just take a page out, we'll fold it, and we'll just make something beautifully artsy and pretty. And it's plenty. It's plenty. Some wake up and don't do nothing. They'll just say, "Happy Dad's Day." Go. Some will just go, "Oh, it's just another day." So, what are you gonna do about that as well? And they've had the Dragonflight talent previews up that you can check out, like on Wowhead. I always put those links in the description eventually, and I know I finally had the opportunity to go back and edit last week. So if you missed last week's, or sorry, not last week's, the bi-weekly 2 weeks ago, sadly, I know a lot of this is older news from about a week or so ish ago in this sense, but if you check that out, you'll see that the jumps to a certain part of your video, you can now jump right there, at least in the most current video. I haven't had any time to go. I'm still working on. I'm having trouble trying to figure out these darn. I just want to be able to upload some custom thumbnails, and it's. And I'm sure it's way easier. I've watched videos. I've tried to accomplish it. It's just, I tried a website. I'm like, why does that seem so complicated here? I'm sure it's way easier than I'm making it. Oh, share your insight below as the huge as well. What I've been up to, because there's so limited internet right now, and it's been dragging god awfully, and we're trying so desperately to stay cool. And I hope it's not too overwhelming, because I need to have the AC on, and I got to shut these lights off as fast as I can, and I got to shut this computer down because it gives off the heat from the vent. These are heating up very, very graciously, quickly. I do have I buy those reflective ones from the Dollar Tree and cut them to shape in these little windows to help with that as well. But mostly I've been playing Transformers Earth Wars. For the first time, I'm so excited. I've been playing the raid on and off, but we've never been able to accomplish one of them, like Kion 2 or whatever some of those little raids are. And a huge shout out to Glitch on our guild for helping to chunk away like 3/4 of the raid already. And grants on the power that you're pushing out for that, because usually I can't push out more than maybe 5-10% per battle, or when I run all my 9 or 10 sets of bots out there with their combiners, I might accomplish like 49-51% of it. So he really cranked it out, and then I've been using a couple of my alts, some small alt ones. I'm so excited. One of the gifts that I got my hubby this year was this beautiful tablet. It's from the company All Do. Oh no, I forgot. But it lets you put a SIM in. It's very snappy, and it's a very beautiful tablet. I even have there's like a little keyboard case for it. And what's really nice is it was always such a pain to connect with the older Bluetooth setup, but this has the little, I don't know if you can see it. It's got the little gold, like the 5 little gold connectors, and when you connect it, like well, you can still default to have your keyboard come up on it, but I turn it off and you can immediately just start typing. It's really snappy, and I've loved it. And I love the I love those that know me know I not just Warcraft, but also I love emulation, and being able to play around with all that is so nice. Here, let me see if I can show you. I'll put the link to ETA Prime's review that he did on this a while back. I really loved it, and it's only a few $100. And for that level of performance, I'm really, really impressed. And again, I want to make sure all done or all do something like that company. I forget the name of this now. I can't believe I forgot this. The tablet for this, I got it through Amazon, and they're not paying me for this. That's what I was leading up to. But I'm really impressed. I was really enjoying playing around with that. And anyway, so to kind of get off on a tangent there, we're all excited. We won this raid finally between my couple of alts, and my hubby's playing once in a while on his phone, and I do on my phone, and it's I'm plugging away at that, and then a happy 6th anniversary to Transformers Earth Wars. And while we're on the subject of these kinds of mobile games that tend to do this god awful lottery mess, not that we see that in Diablo Immortal, but I'll get into Diablo Immortal momentarily. But just a forewarning, and I know it tends to be some game, if you try to play the free version, you could play it for decades on that free option. Yes, there are a couple of free crystals. Yes, there is some little missions now on the little satellite system when you get a high enough level. There's a lot of there's the Shanix. There's a lot of options if you're really willing to grind and put in the time for that. For me, it's more of just a passive thing. I never really spent any money on it other than like a little starter one to feel like at least I sort of purchased the game, but it allowed me to get those extra. The bill bots was pristine, but I have found that if you play through the game normally now, they've really upped the achievement coins, and I was able to, without spending a penny, gotten all, well, not five, they're up to five, they're not all four, but four of the build bots to put down in Transformers Earth Wars. There's a fifth one. You can get that from Shanix if you get enough Shanix, and then you could just do that for 5,000. I know I got 2,000 Shanix. I think we need another 3,000, but it's hard to wait for those weekend updates to come, especially when you want it. But that's kind of how I would do it. And then I do that one thing and never, ever, ever look at that bundle store ever again or try to avoid it like the plague. And then including that, I think now we're going to just kind of touch on this. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk about this for too long. Oh, one other quick piece I wanted to touch on before we get into it. There is a quest out in Zereth Mortis back on Warcraft momentarily here. Where is it? Boink. Okay. There is if you go to the what is it? The Sounds of Healing little gyro vendor character that you unlocked eventually, they will have an item that will make an quest drop on enemies, because a lot of people are going, well, I'm killing all these enemies and this quest isn't dropping. So that's how you get that to get it started, and then you get it, and what that quest does is it unlocks the cipher weapons now. Not that that really matters for some, but if you're only doing that and you're not doing raids, you're not doing Mythic Plus, then that might be an option. And some of the raids just take so long. But thankfully, some of the queues are a little better when you're bringing in cross-faction now, which was the whole plan on that system. And just a small story update as well. The Veneer character, I always really kind of enjoyed the Veneer character. But there was this, she had all that Stygia you brought her. She sort of turned purple, or at least now there's a purplish character there in her place as sort of like a decoy, I guess. But then you go out to Zereth Mortis to one of the little consoles. I can't remember where that one exactly was located. Feel free to share it below if I can't think of it at the moment of this recording. And I'm sure after I get off, I'm like, oh yeah, it was said location. And if you look, you'll see it's more of a dead carcass or shell of Veneer. Sadly, she had obviously used her all that Stygia we brought her to something burned or overwhelmed when she used it. But if you put on your fun fact, you put on the engineer goggles. What type of goggles was it? I'm trying to remember now. I'm trying to remember. I should have. It's a type of engineering goggle. I guess maybe any of the engineering goggles will do this, if I remember right. Don't quote me on that. But then that will allow you to see this little extra information there about her. and it was just kind of an interesting. And there was this mention of also this other item that either hasn't been found, or whether it's a deep puzzle or something for later on, or if it's coming in a later like pre-patch of Dragonflight or in Dragonflight. Uh, the stored warden device, I guess, is listed as a toy. So just something kind of interesting to look forward or keep sort of a mental eye out or ear out for down the road. And I think with that, let's get into this Diablo Immortal mess. Oops, excuse me. Mess, if you will. Now, don't get me wrong. I really like playing with the controls that they with a controller. It's a lot better, and I'd actually like to see that on Nintendo Switch. But dot dot dot, and I will say that I think I had gotten one of my characters to, oh, where is it? Little show it here. Ah, here we go. Janalia, Demon Hunter, level 27. So I hope that the sound isn't coming through overwhelming my voice on that as well. But this is just me playing it for free. There is a daily free option, and if you go kill one enemy really quick in the first 7 days, you can get your first kill of the day item as well. And then there's some rifts that unlock and things like that. And I got really lucky. I went into the mad. It was where like what was it, the Skeleton King variant of that form. I had actually queued, and you can actually like bring in party members, and you get queued to go inside there. It's an interesting little take. It's very similar to playing Diablo 3, if you will, aside from the chaotic side of all the pay to win or pay to play, if you will. And I'm not going to dwell on too much of this. I'm sure you've heard enough streamers across the board that are raving up and down about the mess and how Asmongold spent like hundreds and hundreds of dollars to show what that could unfold as and how easy that was to spend that money. It's just something to be very weary of. If someone were to try to collect all the transmogs, it would cost extensive amounts. You can just play free, but when you're playing that free variant, like I was saying earlier with like Transformers Earth Wars, for instance, I mean, that could be like a decade, but not having to go out. And yes, you might probably notice, wait a minute, Dr. Fox, you said you weren't spending any money, but clearly the little red, yeah, there was a little intro one that I was like, you know what, I'm going to give, and I didn't want to give a penny, but I was like, I'll give him 99 cents, or excuse me, $1.04 with tax. And I said, I'll get the little fun transfer to try one time. Now, a lot of times people will say one time, and then a lot of times with addiction, they'll go back and they'll keep doing it. I have not spent anything beyond so I gave $1.04 for this game, and I'm having some enjoyable time. 9 times out of 10, though, sadly, the internet's really bad here, so I'm not really getting the full good experience I want. But I wanted to at least kind of share that side of the, it's clearly a Diablo game. It clearly plays like that, of that variant. Like I said, I would like to see that on Nintendo Switch, but I not want to see so much of this pay to play mess, or level to play, or pay to level. Well, not really pay to level, but you get what I'm trying to get at here. I'm not going to vary on it too much. All I'm going to share is with you that I went and I tried out my Demon Hunter. I knew I love my range characters, not rage. That would be more like a barbarian. But then I tried the female necromancer up there. You got your Genmancer just to level 6. I may not play much more. I want to do at least. I usually, with these games, I usually like to at least experience the story at least once, and then I'm good. And then I probably never come back, because I haven't been back to Diablo 2 or 3 in so long. And I tend to go back to now, not that I'm addicted, or not that I'm, as again, I always use these tools as just a way to communicate and talk with other individuals, and just share some of these life experiences that allow us to have that as a tool for us, not as a poison, if you will. I guess maybe I'm just different. I don't play as much as I did, and I know that does take a subscription fee. And I've even been talking about pulling back from the subscription fee if we decide to do more traveling as well, because we knew that the internet may be a bit of a limited option. We did do the Starlink situation. We'll have to keep an eye out for that, on how that unfolds. Some people, it's hit or miss. Some are getting it mailed to them immediately, the new RV Starlink option. Some are like, there's been lists for 2023, and then you look at the map of areas that are allowed, and we get it. You got to have so many to reach the satellite in that particular region or that area. I get it. They're working on version, I think, is the current unit version 1.5, and I know right now that I think they were working on a newer version of like a 2.0, version 2.0 version, and getting the satellite slightly lower so you get them even closer. And sadly, though, it broke my heart. It was going up another 25 or 30. It's like 135 a month for that one. But pretty good internet speeds, a lot better than what my provider's option is. And they're truly unlimited. Is not truly unlimited. It might be 5 gigs, depending on the carrier. Could be 5 gigs, could be 20, 25. We're using Mint Mobile, and we've been able to go up to, I think my other half has hit into the 20s. 20 gigs. We're trying not to overdo it because we know we'll get throttled at some point. And I think my other phone hit 16.76 gigs the other day. So at least at that of the recording the other day, I mean, it's already up to past that 17, whatever. But it seems to be working. And for a little bit of it, I've been able to plug in the sim into here and I don't usually want to do a lot of video play because of watching anything, because it tends to just soak up all that. I do have that special tablet adapter that we're going to play around with the antenna heading home. But on my hubby's truck, he's got this little antenna, wired up system here, and it plugs into this special kind of USB or USB-C that goes in here. You can get a USB version with a coax on it for your laptop. So if you just want to put your TV on your laptop, you want to have less devices and just do like the laptop and phone. I'm trying to get down to that, of just the tablet, the phone, and then my Switch. And that's pretty much it. But I know then they have this beautiful new Android, and we know there's always going to be something new coming out. And there's this beautiful Android device that's looking a lot like a Nintendo Switch. And I know you can buy like the external controls, because I have one that I put on, but it's so hard to click it on there, and it did work pretty good. But I think with that, I do have Diablo Immortal, not just on my PC, but I've put it on my iPhone and the Android to play around with. And the Android isn't the fastest one. And Diablo Immortal looks pretty on a larger device. It's hard to play when it's that small. I have a decent sized screen. For instance, my iPhone here is the 12, so it's a decent size. You can kind of see, a difference there. And playing it it was a little getting used to, though, because I'm so used to like right clicking to do the power ups with the little Demon Hunter spin on Diablo Immortal. So I was a little getting used to, and having my 4 fingers on the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then trying oddly to hit the Q button. Now I know you can reprogram all those buttons, but I'd like to get a controller and hook it in and actually play it that way, because I really like it better that way than I do trying to use the mouse. But trying to use it on the screen, it wasn't bad. It worked pretty well. You can go in with options once I leveled a certain level, and I was able to do auto loot. And there were a few other options that you can turn on that help. I always like to turn off the speech error. I don't like my character constantly saying, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And I turn that off in WoW to not listen to that. But it's a nice little, both of them. This Diablo I'm currently playing around with, and then the WoW, these are ones that I can it gives a little time enjoyment, not a time waster, but when it's a little bit of your hobby and you're enjoying a little bit of that, when you're struggling through disabilities, and it's very, 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 very difficult to continue to do film work. though we have a lot of ideas, and sometimes trying to implement those ideas has become complicated and convoluted. And it's because I would love to have a separate series just talking about that side of things, to be able to travel around and be able to do more just extra work again. And I miss some of the, I don't know. I go back and forth. Sometimes I miss SAG after, other times I don't. And you kind of have that free of independence to work on more independent work when it comes to not being restricted to that either. But, and you don't really seem to have the same connections that you have. Maybe they do in bigger cities, but it's really convoluted and complicated, especially at someone at my age. But they always need characters all across the spectrum for every kind of job. But you got to be very selective, if you will. And then you got to be cautious, because a lot of times they send you something you think is something, and then they want to just charge you this outrageously month fee when you can create something freely. But then they always try to convince you that paying for it will give you more exposure, and that's not what we're doing here. But they misinterpret that, as well as watch out for certain types of voice lessons work, things like that. I'm not dissing other voice lessons individuals, but you got to be very cautious out there about when you continue to work on said craft for your whole life, or kind of tweaking yourself in on different variants. And then you got to be careful of scams too, because then sometimes they will like, well, could you send us your basic information? And then they do that only to steal your identity. And it can be so hard out there to weed through the mess, especially when you see someone like some connection from Marvel to like reach out on WhatsApp, especially when right now they're like, careful with WhatsApp. It's like that, and another app out there is very high levels of spammers and scammers on it. And even this actress, she thought, a shout out to her, she thought that she was getting, she's like, it was probably a scam. And she submitted this little, yeah, sticky. Who's your mama? Oh, who's your mama stitching? I wish I had my external camera so you guys could see this little cutie patootie button. And trying to move the laptop right now so you could see it. It's been kind of oh, but those that see my Instagram know that there's lots of put 'em up there. And yes, oh, Miss Put 'em. Yes, Miss Put 'em, 'cause I know we're gonna wrap up and have some yummy leftover pizza for lunchy munchies. Yes, Gwenda, you want some Gwenda food? Gwenda food? I want some treats. All right, I think with that, if that's going over the air, I'm sure you got some cats that are like, oh, if you have that really turned up. Like, wait a minute. And I'm hoping with this new little microphone system, it's a lot better than me sort of yelling with an echoey sound, and you can have to turn it all the way up or have to put on headphones to even hear what I was saying a while back, because I was having mic issues, and then the mic broke, and then I couldn't afford a new mic for a while, and then finally they restocked these, and I couldn't have one mailed to me, and I'm just gonna be glad to get out of here. It's been a real mess. We want to go. We're ready. We're ready to go. I hope the next time I see you folks, I'm on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. What's that bird? That's a variant version that I heard on a morning show decades ago. And I've tried to find it online. I can't find that variant. It's hard to find those kinds of, because they used to put out these CDs, and the stories I could tell you about working on radio stations before it went completely automated, or I call it the Terminators that took over our job. But anyway, I think with that, let's wrap this up. Let's get into the let's reconnect. I love my calendar kittens. I know this one's kind of logging on, going on now over a half hour ish. But those that know me tend to know that I tend to, once I can get a good microphone set up, and I know I'm not saying this is the best, it's better than it was. Let me put it that way. But when that's the case, I like to be able to share more of the info that came in. And there was a lot of info over the last couple of weeks. I'm trying to squeeze in. Usually, most of my weekend updates are like 20 minutes or so ish. I mean, I know they vary from time to time, not being exact, okay? No one needs to write in there, okay, well, Jenna, you also have ones that are like 8 minutes and 13. And I know, I was just thing in general. Okay, there's no one that needs to be the specific police here. Okay, but I think with that, let's get into the calendar, kittens, and I might as well show off my new dark iron, beautiful new gears. I like the dark iron armor. I just don't like the helmet, so I like to take it off and let her dark iron face be seen. And then she's got the new weapons there, and we'll get into the calendar here momentarily, and then we can wrap up. And I'm gonna go eat some num nums. I know the tummy's actually down here, but you can't see it off camera, so I was trying to do it here. Num num, num num, fight babies. More in the way in the why, yup yup, he in the papa chew, in the why. And I know I'm sure there'll be something I forgot to discuss or talk about, and I tried to make all my little tweaks on that as my discussions came out. But there were a few other variants and a few other ideas of discussion we wanted to cover and things like that. But I know one of the things I'm working on when I get back is I hope, is being able to actually edit the travel. Being able to actually edit the travel videos that I had done as well, and I know she's got some mail, so we'll not worry about that right now. And I think for the calendar, we've got the Dark Moon Fair going on this week as well. Those that may have missed it, it was just a few days ago. Was the 1,000 Boat Bash was going on as well. Any raids or dungeons you've been running that lockout for the week, those will reset on Tuesday as well. And coming up this week from the 12th to the 18th, I'm going to cover the next week too, because sadly we won't be back till the 25th-ish. So Torghast Unbridled Darkness, that's beginning this week. Battleground bonus event, that's ending. Time Walking Dungeon, that's beginning this week as well. PvP Brawl, the Packed House, that's beginning. The classic PvP Brawl of Classic Ashran, that's ending. And then the following week, we're going to see the Midsummer kick off. So now we'll know that the official kickoff of summer, and that's the thing, is we're trying to get out of here before the first official calendar day of summer. Now I know the unofficial calendar day is Memorial Weekend, that was weeks ago, but we get it. The calendar date is 21, and we know it doesn't really add up because sometimes it gets hotter before, sometimes it's after. It is so hot. And of course, we're so close to the equator right now. It's like trying to make these poor things work. So we have the kickoff of Midsummer Fire Festival. No word about it being really any new content, but if you want to tidy up any old things, that would be a great time to do that as well. By that point, Time Walking Dungeon queues will be ending. Shadowlands Dungeon event, that's beginning. The PvP Brawl Deep 6, that begins. And then we will continue through till the end of the month for the Midsummer Fire Festival. And if any of you are going to be joining that, feel free to share with me. I'm hoping I get to pop in for a few moments then. It'll most likely, though, just be something I need to tidy up real quick. So I think with that, let's kind of wrap this up. Thanks for coming along with us. I feel bad. I don't want to wake up Miss Mora. Yes, with the bi-weekly traveling weekend update, right, Miss Cutie? Oh, I just want to grab that little putum. Oh, look at that little back turkey leg. I'm just kidding. Um, so I think with that, let's wrap it up. Have a good time. Hang in there. Don't forget to call me again next time I'm on. Have 2 weeks, a few things to think about next time. And once again, we know the drill. We will see you later.